The King's Magic Drum, a Yoruba tale. In the heart of the Yoruba kingdom, there lived a kind-hearted king named Adebayo. King Adebayo's palace, a grand structure of mud bricks and ornate carvings, stood at the heart of the kingdom, its thatched roofs rising above the surrounding homes like a guardian watching over its people. His reign was marked by peace and prosperity, and yet there was one thing that eluded him: the ability to provide an endless feast for his people, to ensure that no one in his kingdom would ever go hungry again. One day, while wandering the sacred groves that bordered his kingdom, Adebayo stumbled upon an ancient drum hidden beneath the canopy of a giant iroko tree. He whispered, "Eku aro," a greeting for the morning, to the ancient spirits, acknowledging their presence and showing respect. The drum, adorned with intricate carvings and symbols, pulsed with a magical energy. A voice as old as the earth itself spoke to him. "Adebayo, king of the Yoruba, this drum is a gift from the ancients. With its power, you can summon the most delicious meals at your command. But be warned, the magic must not be misused, for greed will lead to ruin." Adebayo, humbled by the gift, vowed to use the drum wisely. He returned to his palace, the magical drum in tow, ready to share this blessing with his people. The news of the magic drum spread like wildfire throughout the kingdom. Adebayo, with a heart full of joy, called upon the drum for the first time in the presence of his subjects. With a firm strike to the drum's surface, a magnificent feast appeared before their eyes. The people were ecstatic, marveling at the endless array of dishes, each more delicious than the last. There was pounded yam, which was smooth and looked as white as the clouds, ready to be dipped into delicious soups like egusi, full of melon seeds, and efo bursting with green spinach and tasty locust beans. Plates of jollof rice, which looked as golden as the sunset and smelled just as nice, were surrounded by slices of fried plantain that added a sweet touch to the meal. Everyone in the kingdom came together to enjoy the feast. They all sat around big plates laid out on the ground, showing how important it is in their culture to share meals and moments together. People sat close, sharing bites of yam dipped in soup, telling stories and laughing a lot. It was about more than just eating. It was about feeling close to one another, showing what it means to be a community. As they looked at all the food, people started saying things to show how happy and thankful they were. They said, "Oseo," to thank the king and the magic drum. "Ayonio" could be heard all around as everyone shared in the happiness. The drum did more than just bring food. It brought everyone closer, reminding them of how important they all are to each other. As days turned into weeks, the drum provided for the kingdom, and not a single soul went to bed hungry. Adebayo's heart swelled with pride as he watched his people thrive. Yet, in the shadows of prosperity, a seed of greed began to sprout within him. The king, once satisfied with ensuring his people's well-being, now yearned for more extravagant feasts, solely for his own pleasure. He started wanting more than just simple meals for everyone. He began dreaming of super fancy feasts just for himself. So he started using the magic drum to throw big, extravagant meals, but only invited a few of the kingdom's elders, who told him what he wanted to hear and laughed at his jokes. They ate foods that were way more fancy and took much more than they needed just because they could. These special dinners weren't about bringing people together or helping out those who were hungry. They were about showing off, about King Adebayo and his chosen few having more and feeling like they were better than everyone else. The drum, which was meant to help everyone, was now being used for just a few people to have too much. And with every beat of that drum for those fancy meals, King Adebayo was moving further away from caring about his people's real needs. Adebayo's closest advisor, a wise old woman named Ifetayo, noticed the change in the king. She approached him with caution, her voice trembling with concern. "My king, owo omode otopepe, tiagba owo aki iwoja." The hand of the child cannot reach the shelf, and the hand of the elder does not enter the gourd. Remember the warning that came with the drum. It is a tool for the people's benefit, not for personal gain. Please do not let greed cloud your judgment. But Adebayo, blinded by his desires, dismissed her warnings. He struck the drum more frequently, each time summoning feasts of unimaginable opulence, just for himself and his court. The people of the kingdom, once jubilant, grew worried as they noticed their king's growing obsession. One fateful night, as Adebayo called upon the drum for a feast unlike any before, the magic turned on him. The drum, angered by the king's misuse of its power, unleashed a curse upon the land. Instead of the usual sumptuous meals, it summoned locusts that devoured the crops, leaving the kingdom on the brink of famine. When the curse strikes, the once vibrant kingdom turns bleak. The crops wither, leaving the fields dry and barren. The crackling of dead leaves underfoot, a stark contrast to the soft, fertile soil of before. The air grows heavy, filled with the dust of the parched earth, and the absence of the rich aromas of feasts marks the gravity of the king's mistake. Adebayo watched in horror as his greed brought suffering to his people. He realized too late the gravity of his mistake. The once prosperous kingdom was now faced with the very plight he had sought to eliminate. Filled with remorse, Adebayo sought Ifetayo's guidance. She, with a heavy heart, told him of a way to lift the curse. "You must return the drum to the sacred grove and seek forgiveness from the ancients. Only through a genuine act of humility and sacrifice can the balance be restored." Adebayo embarked on the journey, the drum in tow, his spirit burdened with the pain he had caused. Upon reaching the sacred grove, he fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face, and pleaded for forgiveness. The ancients, moved by Adebayo's genuine remorse, lifted the curse. The king returned to his kingdom, not with the drum, but with a newfound wisdom. He worked tirelessly alongside his people to rebuild what had been lost, fostering a community where everyone contributed and no one was left wanting. Years passed, and the kingdom flourished once again. Adebayo, now a wise and humble king, often spoke of the magic drum, not as a tale of his own greatness, but as a reminder of the consequences of greed and the importance of wisdom and humility. The story of the king's magic drum became a cherished tale in the Yoruba kingdom, passed down through generations. It served as a timeless lesson on the dangers of misusing power, the virtues of humility and wisdom, and the boundless strength found in unity and compassion. Adebayo's legacy lived on, not as a king who succumbed to greed, but as one who learned, grew, and ultimately led his kingdom to a new era of prosperity and harmony. And so, the magic of the drum, though no longer present in a physical form, continued to beat in the heart of every story, every lesson, and every feast shared in the kingdom of Yoruba. The end. Thanks for listening.